Hello everyone, it's Reaper17 here today, and today we're just going to go over Elite Dangerous. If you watched my last video, you would have seen the rare trade goods route that I showed off. And just today I'm going to give you a brief overview of the actual game itself. So we're going to go ahead and start up. I play solo just because I don't feel like dealing with other people right now on this video. Let this load up. But for the first video I've ever put out on this account, this is my actual official, what's going to be my official YouTube account. I have a private account, and this will be my basically channel uploading account for all reasons. But anyways, for the fact that I have no subscribers, it had 22 views, which I'm going to hope isn't that awful. I honestly have no idea. But this is just going to be a little bit of a spin-off off of that video. Sorry it took so long to put up. I know in the rare goods trading video I mentioned it would only take that night or tomorrow, but some real life things came up. And this is still loading. Alright, we're in Shifnal Airport. I'm sorry, Shifnal Port, which, to be completely honest, I don't know where that is. Think I was doing more rare goods trading. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So I was doing more rare goods trading. Might as well buy more corn. Alright. So, in Elite Dangerous, you start out with, I believe, 5,000 credits and a Sidewinder. And we'll look at the Sidewinder right there. Trying to think of how to word this. In Elite Dangerous, currently in okay, ignore that eagle. In Elite Dangerous, like I said, you start out with a Sidewinder. You can see right here, we have the top speed. It says it's lower than my current ship, which is why it says red down. Your boost speed is down, but my overall maneuverability would go up if I were to buy this ship. Now remember, this is the first ship you start out with, so this is what you have. And I guess I could go ahead and buy one, but my cargo is full, and yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna buy one because I don't feel like it, honestly. But you start out with the way Elite Dangerous works. You have your shield, you have your armor, and you have how much your hull mass is. We'll get into hull mass later, but just remember that it's a very important feature if you ever want to do any kind of privateering or being a pirate or even just running away from things. Alright, in Elite Dangerous you have your hard points, which is what you can use for mining, really mining and combat. You have your utility hard points, which I'll show in a second, and then your small hard points are just your weapons. They're what you're going to use as your weapons. Then in your internal compartments, these you don't see, obviously, because it says internal. You have your size 1 and your size 2. I believe it goes to size 6. It goes to size 6 or 7. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Like I said, I'm no expert at this game whatsoever. But when you have your Sidewinder, you have one size 1 internal compartment and 2 size 2 internal compartments. And then when you first start out, you have 2 loned pulse lasers, your lightweight alloys, your pretty much run-of-the-mill power plant, thrusters, life support, yada yada yada. Now, I actually probably, I'm going to head to, well, here, I can show you this. When you first load into Elite Dangerous, you'll be in starport. I think it's random where you spawn every time you start, so you'll just be in some random starport. When you first start out, you'll be, in your cockpit. If you see right down here, well, you can't see my mouse. If you see right there, those 3 little bars that say E and G, WEP, and SYS, that's your engines, your weapons, and your systems. I'm using well, I can't actually change those because I'm docked, which would be helpful. Alright, since I'm docked, you can see in the top right hand corner info and comms. Comms, if you're on multiplayer, high. You just type transmission, no valid communication target. They're actually coming in 1.2. You're going to have your actual, if you've ever played War Thunder or World of Tanks, your squad, your platoons, you'll actually be able to form a wing of people. Up to 4, I believe. 4 or 5. I believe it's 4. But we'll go over that. We'll go over that later. In the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see Shifnal Port. The system is owned by the Alliance. We're in the Disco system. It's a democracy, and the primary economy in this sector is agriculture. Now, if you look to the right, you'll see your status. Then you see your You'll see your reputation, which I haven't really done anything special reputation-wise. I'm a neutral to the 3 major factions in the game, which are the Federation, the Empire, and the Alliance. Then you have your system factions, which I don't entirely understand how all that works. I know there's a way to basically get one faction inside of a system to be in control of the system, but it's very kind of complicated as how that works. And we'll go over that in a later video once I actually understand entirely how it works. You can see I'm wanted because I have a 400 credit bounty. That's, yeah. Is this, actually this is an alliance, so I'm just going to go ahead and pay that off really quick before I forget, so I don't get shot at. Oops, didn't mean to open that. Contacts, alliance, confirm. Alright, now I don't have a bounty. But that just shows you, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. That just shows you your reputation with the factions within the system, and then the 3 major factions. Then you'll see your name, which mine's Commodore Reaper17, your combat rank, which is you kill more enemy ships, and then you'll get a bounty for them, and you can turn in the bounty, and that rank will go up. As you trade more, your trade rank will go up. As you explore more, your explorer rank will go up. Those are your 3 main ways to make money in the game. You can kill things, whether that be for the government, for privateer work, for piracy, anything like that. You can trade, which trading's trading. You can do normal trading, which I don't personally do. I do rare goods trading, as shown in my last video. Or you can be an explorer. And exploring is a pretty fun way if you like to relax and just genuinely explore systems. Remember, Elite Dangerous has 3 billion star systems, I believe. So even if there was 100 million people playing this game, you would still there'd still be a lot of unexplored star systems, which actually, and I'll go ahead and show you that. Actually, if you're the first person to ever discover a system, whoops, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're ever the first person to discover a star system under the system map, sorry for that. It always does that for me. I do not know why. You'll see Disco, and this is apparently a bad example. Let me see here. That's a bad example. I don't know if it'll let me show. I'm just gonna pick a random system. Here. Okay, I can't use the system view for that system. Can't for that. Can't for that. Purchase exploration data. Alright, system view. Accessing system data for Fletch T. I don't know. Apparently it's unexplored, because I haven't actually scanned the system. But what I was trying to show you, and apparently I can't because I haven't explored that system yet, is if you're the first person to ever explore that system, so I'm going to zoom all the way out, and I mean all the way out. This entire thing, the entire Milky Way is the system Elite Dangerous is set up in. So all of this is explorable. So you remember where I was, all the way over here? Well, let's say if I wanted to go to the other side of the galaxy, and you were the first person to discover, I don't know, this system right here. Blue AOWSY VY-1 B9-7, 42,589.93 light years away, then your name would be next to that star system name under system view, and it'll show, you know, discovered by you, whatever your name is. That's another cool feature, really dangerous. But back to here. And yes, Earth is in the game. Soul. You have to have a soul permit, which I do. All founders, like if you had purchased a beta pack or an alpha pack, then you had that. And I'm having to zoom in all the way. There it is, soul. I could go there, and I may actually go there. Thought about it. Yeah, major all corporations system view. We'll look at soul. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I never actually have looked at soul before. What if it loads? Yep, look. Mercury, Venus, Earth. Mars has apparently been terraformed. Lots of stars. Abraham Lincoln. I can't pronounce those. I'm not even going to try. Mars high, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Charon. Alright, sorry about that. I got sidetracked. And then, okay, so back to this little thing. I don't even know what you want to call this UI. You'll see your balance, how much money you have, the rebuy cost. When you die, you can buy back your ship for a fraction of what it actually cost. Like my fitting, if I can find where it tells me this. Actually, I think I'll have to go under here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go over to here, shipyard. That's not what I wanted. My fitting cost is 2.5 million, somewhere around in there. And if I died, I can buy it back under the insurance tab for only 103,000 credits. That's a really good deal considering my ship's 2.5 million credits. Whoops, I'm sorry. What is that doing? Okay, under modules, you'll see all your modules. You can actually turn off modules. Like I can turn off my thrusters, your shield generator. You can even turn off your life support if you need the extra power. And based on based on the quality of life support you have, I think you can have up 20 minutes of oxygen. And speaking of life support, if in combat your life support you can actually blow up individual subsystems. Like you can blow up someone's cargo hatch and make all their cargo fall out. You can knock out their power support, or sorry, their power distribution or your life support. If your life support dies or your hull gets low to where, why does that keep doing that? I'm sorry. If your life support gets blown up, then you'll just have to you'll have to try and dock within the limited time, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, so on and so forth. Or else you'll die in space, and you're dead. Mine's set up for trading. It's not really set up for combat, which is why I have so many cargo racks. Under fire groups, that's where you set up your fire groups, your weapons. I have pulse lasers for I use a controller, an Xbox controller, so right trigger would be pulse lasers, my left trigger would be my beam lasers, and then heat seek launchers. Then this is your cargo, shows all your cargo, then it shows the capacity 40 of 40. Then functions, this is how you do most of the things in Elite Dangerous. The two most used things you're going to use are landing gear and cargo scoop. Because the cargo scoop is how you put down your cargo scoop to scoop up things in space. And their landing gear is where you have to deploy landing gear to actually land. And you can set individual things like flight assist, ship lights. I don't know. Oh, hey, I actually get like legitimate headlights. That's kind of cool. Like I said, I'm no expert at this game, so some things I find. Flight assist, rotation correction, turret weapon mode. This won't be very important to you till you get into the really big ships like the Anaconda or the Cobra. No, I'm sorry, it's not the Cobra, it's the Python. I'm in the Cobra. The Python or the Anaconda. Pre-flight checks, I don't like that. It basically tells you the basic controls of how to play in this. The basic controls of how to fly. Sorry, my dog's being dumb. Then report crimes against me. I have orbit lines off because it just gets really annoying really fast. And you can self-destruct. Now, I'm going to launch. So I can get to Liste, or not Liste, Lave right here. But I guess I can go over this tab while we're loading. In this tab you have your navigation, transaction, contacts, your sub targets would be something if you have something locked. That's how you kill individual sub targets, like the power plant, the thrusters, anything like that. But we're gonna take off from this spaceport here. Fly under here. You can see I'm going kind of slow. It says I'm maxing out at 141. It's because my landing gear's out. Not really sure why, but when your landing gear's down, you go slower. When you retract your landing gear, you can see I speed back up. You can boost. You see that I'm maxing out at about 282. When you hit your boost key, which for the Xbox controllers, mine's binded to X. When I hit that, you'll see that little bar for engines goes down, and I go up to 404. And then you start kind of slowing back down to your normal speed. In the bottom right, where you see the engine system, weapons, this is where it becomes kind of normal. You just saw my speed bar drop even more. When all power is to engines, you'll go faster. When all power is to weapons, your weapons will cool down quicker, and you'll regenerate weapon capacitor faster. Systems will recharge your shields faster, and other things. Not entirely sure how that works. Just I know it increases your shield regeneration if they're down. Then you can just, if you have an Xbox controller like I use, this is all used by your D-pad. Engines are up on the D-pad, weapons are right, system is left, down just resets it. You see those little the dots underneath each one that will move? That shows you if all powered engines. It's done in 25% increments. So 25% of my power goes to weapons, 25% goes to shields, and right now 100% is going to the engines. By default, it's 50-50-50. I can make it 100% weapons or 100% shields and 0 engines, which it doesn't really mean you're not have engine power just means you're going to go really slow. But I like to keep it on engine unless I'm in a fight, because you can go a whole lot faster. You can actually overheat also, which I shall show you if I get when I get near the sun. But we can get out of here. You see in the bottom right corner, you see, you know, mass lock, landing gear, cargo scoop. When you're near a space station like the one I was just at, you'll actually be mass locked. You cannot initiate a frame shift drive when you are mass locked, and you can only be mass locked by stations. But enough of that. I'm going to activate my frame shift drive, which is how you go, well, faster than normal, basically. You have a countdown, which I personally like. And there we go. We are in, sometimes it'll kind of take a second, and now we're in, I don't even know what this is called, frame space, is what I'm going to call it. But, like I said, we need to go to Lave. Now, over here, you know, navigation, transaction, contacts. I'm going to go to the galaxy map, which shows all the star systems. We're going to go to LAVE and hit plot route. Obviously, this can be done also over here. You just need to look for system names. Everything, if it says light year, it means it's not in your system. If it says light seconds, it means it's within your system. So, we're going to go to, like I said, LAVE, Lave. I'm going to assume that's what it's called. And actually, I just saw something pop up. You see this thing right here? Unidentified signal sources? That will pop up as you're in frame shift space. And I'll drop out, actually, just to show you. You say you have to be within 1,000, and I'll actually go over safe disengage distance in a second. What is this? Viper Allied Police Forces. Clean. Means they don't have a bounty. What is this, anyways? Eagle. Why are they here? I don't know. Anyways, let's get out of here. Unidentified signal sources can give a lot of things. They can give junk in space. Prior to 1.0, when we were still in beta and gamma, I used to do I used to go to a certain system, I cannot remember the name now, and look for unidentified signal sources because you'd get gold, and you could sell it on the black market, which actually brings up another good point. Anything that's not bought by you or ejected by the person willingly, like over here, and I go, actually, I'm not even sure that'll work. I think you actually just have to buy it. It's considered stolen. You can get a fine for it, which the fine's based on how much the item goes, and the only place to sell it's on the black market. And not every station has a black market, which I'll show you once we get to Lave. But with that being said, I want to go slow really quick because I don't feel like. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Lave. LAVE, which is actually not based on alphabetical order, it's based on how far it is, 3.59 light years. Lock destination. And then now you're going to want to see it. You see the little nav bar right next to the HUD in the center? Look to up to the little left a little. You'll see, I can't really show you, right there. Between the little mini solar system and the HUD that shows with that little percentage bar. You'll want to see when it's solid, when the circle's filled in, that means you're on that plane. You'll see, watch as I move away from it. Okay, now see how it's hollow? That means I'm going the wrong way. Now, when I circle back around, it'll go up to the screen, and then it'll fill back in, and now you see it right here in front of me, LAVE. Now you just want to activate your frame. Now see what that says right now. You see 3.59 light years in 1 year. If I were to try to go to that system based on my current time, based on my current speed, it would take 1 year of real life time. But luckily we have another frame shift drive option that can only be used when locking onto other systems. This one takes a little longer to charge, and it'll use your fuel, which I'll go over once we get to actually to that system. But once it charges, there we go. Boom. And then you'll see, you know, the little speed meter goes crazy because we're jumping from one system to another. And it kind of looks neat. And then you land pretty close to that sun. And there's different kind of suns in this game. This is just your normal one, yellow, orange star. And this game's very pretty, actually. Excuse my voice. Alright, and I'm going to go over another function really quick. I have a fuel scoop on this thing. Fuel scoop active. You see that little bar right there? Yeah, well, it just went over because my cargo holds full. But you also see heat. When you get close to the sun, if you're not doing any kind of combat, this is the only kind of heat you're really going to have to worry about. When you get close to the sun, you'll get warning heat levels critical. For my ship, if I go over 150, well, I got too close. If you get too close to the sun or any planetary object, this happens. You spin out. You'll see in the bottom right, frame shift drive cooldown, and you'll see like my HUD kind of got a little smoky, and I took damage. In that bottom right hand corner, you'll see 98% hull integrity. It's because my heat levels went over 150% with this particular ship. If I understand correctly, different ships have different heat levels you can go to before you start taking hull damage. You can actually kill yourself by being too hot in this game. The main counter of that is heat sinks. If I can get away from that glare, there we go. See how it says 82%? I'm going to activate a heat sink by pressing left trigger. You see my heat goes all the way down to almost 20%, and it cycles through a heat sink. Coolant purge initiated. I have one of two heat sinks in that one, I have one and three in the other. When I'm using a controller, I just press A to cycle through those tabs I set up, which is a great way in fire groups. You just want to go over here, and you can make as many as you want, I believe. But I don't need that many, and I don't remember how to delete them. Oops. How do you delete them? Oh, there you go. Cycle through that. And there you go. Now you see 1, 1 for the pulse lasers and 2, 2. That means the pulse lasers are on the right trigger and the beam lasers are on the left. See? I can just use the beam lasers, or I can use the pulse lasers. And my heat levels go up, but whatever. Alright, and then before you can initiate frame jump, all your hard points have to be down. Which, if you're using an Xbox controller, you just hit the back button. Alright, speed back up, which you don't actually have to boost, but I do it just for the fun of it. Frame shift drive charging. You have to, when you get too close to the sun or a planet, you have to go to an escape vector, like this. You see I've started to warm back up again. And it yelling at me for temperature critical. I need to get away from the sun. Sun's that way, I need to go this way. And now I'm sparking. That's always good, right? Alright, we're gonna head to George Lucas, or LAV, wait, what? Oh, I need to go to Leasty, I'm sorry. Leasty's the station I'm trying to go to. Alright, I'm going to spin back around, lift that little ball, tells me where to go, and I'm going to activate my other frame shift drive, and we're going to go ahead and jump over there. There we go. And then now we're going to get to Leasty. I'm probably butchering these names, so I'm just going to say sorry in advance. Once we get to Leasty, whenever it loads, we're going to circle back around. See how in the bottom left it says high tech? High tech and industrial areas are where you're going to want to go if you're wanting to buy outfittings for your ship, or just get a new ship usually, because they'll have better rating equipment and stuff, which I'll go over in just a second. Another thing I'm going to show you, and this is how I do it. You can actually do it manually if you want. If you're using an Xbox controller, right bumper, left bumper, you can make your speed go up and down. You can only, if it's all the way up, that means you'll slowly start accelerating. You see I'm going, 7.5, 8, so on and so forth. If you put it about in the middle of that blue area, right here where you see that cursor is, it'll actually kind of autopilot your speed so you don't go shooting past it like I do a lot of the times. You'll still have to manually keep it lined up, but it's a really nice way to know you're not going to overshoot something. And then you'll see I'm going to the George Lucas station. You have to be within 1,000 mm, which is, well, you'll see in a second. I actually have no idea what mm stands for. I know it's above kilometers, so you have to be basically under 1,000 kilometers and going slower than 1,000 kilometers a second. And you see now I'm starting to slow down. You're not actually 9 seconds because you're slowing down, but I'm going 6. I think I'm going too slow actually because there's a planet right here. Come on. I got too close. When you get too close to the planet, the game kind of like proximity affects you, so you start going a little slower than you mean to. See, now it's yelling at me to slow down because I may actually blow past this. See, just that little bit of boost did it. Alright, and boom. You want to do safe disengage. If you're using an Xbox controller, it's the left thumbstick, you press down on it. Remember, you have to be under 1,000 kilometers, under 1,000 meters a second. And now we're at George Lucas Station. And you see right We got lucky on this one. Right in front of us is the docking port. Sometimes you won't always do that. Sometimes you won't always, get right where you can see it. You have to kind of try and find it, and that can be tricky. Usually you want to look for where all the other ships are. But then you're going to want to go over here to your navigation tab, go to contacts, you'll see Station George Lucas. You want to request docking permission. Okay, we have our request was granted. Now we're going to want to dock. And if you're not good at docking, you're going to want to come in here nice and slow. Just like that. Slow down a bit. Get the ship rotated, and now we're going to land at this docking pad, 28. If you try to land on any other docking pad, you'll get a fine, and that's never good. So go to the one you're designated at. You have to request docking permission, or else you'll get fined for loitering as well. And they can sometimes kill you if you stay too long. Alright, so you put down your landing gear like I just did. You see that little landing gear box lit up. And now, you see this? See how my HUD changed to where it shows my ship and a little, kind of like basically target? Well, you see that little line and then the circle that goes down? And notice how everything just lit up blue. Now you just want to go straight down like this. And you're docked. That's pretty much all there is to docking in Elite Dangerous. Now that we're here, though, I'm going to enter the hangar. Because I have to do it anyways, really. You get to watch the cool little animations. Spin the ship around. And eventually in Elite Dangerous, you'll be able to get out of your ship and walk around in the station and meet other people, see NPCs, all that kind of good stuff. Right now, that's not in the game. They're still just adding in the ships they promised to add in. Then I think they're going to start working on that, though I could be wrong. But eventually it will be added in. Alright, now that you're in the station, you want to go to Starport Services, and I guess I can go over what all these buttons do once this loads. Your home is, well, home screen. This is your home for the UI that pops up. I'm going to refuel my ship, which refills your fuel tank and reservoir, which is what you use to jump if you made a jump or if you don't use the fuel scoop. You can repair your ship and you can reload anything. I had to reload that heatsink. Certain weapons need to be reloaded, which I'll go over in just a second. Whoops, think I hit B. You want to go to munitions, to show which modules need stuff. For heatsinks 404, 404, 1 unit costs 17 credits. Repairs. Kind of shows you ship integrity is not at full. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm not sure if it's a bug or if I just missed something. But anyways, repair individual parts, the hull, the paint job, bulletin boards. This is another way to make money in the game. Go to a system, look at the bulletin boards, see kill means credits. Pilot of an armed ship, want to earn 14,473 credits? It's easy. The authorities of George Lucas have offered us an exclusive kill rights for Warzone ships, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Eliminate 6 such vessels and return to collect your bounty. So if I wanted to, I could go to Reaperxvii. I need to kill 6 ships in the Warzone. And special, if I die, then the mission ends. Or, you can do something like food needed in least D. If I donate 3 fruit and vegetables, I get a reputation gain. And then in these missions I can't do because the faction doesn't trust me enough, usually. Sometimes you won't get them because you don't have the cargo capacity, which I don't think any of these are. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't look like... Well, yeah, if you were in a Sidewinder, see how it says you need 15 mineral oil? If your cargo capacity isn't large enough, like if your cargo capacity isn't 15 or greater, it won't let you accept the mission. Which is kind of dumb, I believe, because, you can just bring it in little bits and pieces, but apparently you're not allowed to yet. And then, available but unattainable, this faction doesn't trust you enough. It says under special right here, this faction does not trust you enough. Seeing if there's any... Yeah. Alright, and then under contacts, you'll have your Pilot Federation, pay bounties. So if you get... So you can pay off any bounty you may have. Like if I had that 600 credit bounty I had at the start of this video, that's where I went to pay it off. Local security forces, I don't have any fines, and I don't have any bounties that I've collected that are owned for the independent faction. Same for combat bonds, and there's the black market. I don't have any goods to sell because I haven't stolen anything in space, but that's where you go to sell things if you have stolen something. If the station has a black market. Next is outfitting. You actually have to go inside the station, which it'll do it automatically if once you dock and I hit enter hangar. If you don't hit enter hangar, it'll do it automatically. But now we're going to go over ship outfitting. And in the most basic principle ever, in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see we'll start at the top. Power use 8.96 megawatts if all my hard points are retracted. If everything's deployed, being fired, or being used, it's 11.5 megawatts used. I have 13 available. If you go over your power supply, your ship will just shut off, and you're going to have to micromanage turning things on and off. Your shields will also go off, so if you're in combat, that can be a really big problem. Your cargo capacity, I can hold 40 tons of goods, and I'm currently holding 40 tons. Your fuel capacity, that's how much fuel you have. The bigger your ship, the more you can hold. That usually doesn't change. You usually come with the largest fuel capacity. Then your maximum tonnage. I'm probably not going to be able to show you unless I can get interdicted, but when you try to activate your frame shift drive and another ship is within 3 kilometers, if it weighs more than you, you're going to get something called a mass distribution times something, depending on how much heavier that ship is than you. That means your frame shift drive will charge a lot slower. So let's say if I was next to a Sidewinder and I'm in my Cobra Mark III, his frame shift drive would charge up a lot slower. You have to be, and that's pretty much what that does. So the heavier your ship, if you're hunting, it can be great because one, if you're being hunted by a lot of smaller ships, their mass, I'm actually not sure if the collected mass works. So let's just say you're being hunted by a single Sidewinder. You can jump out, and his mass won't affect your jumping, so you'll charge up normally. But if you're being hunted by an Asp, your frame shift drive would charge up slower because you weigh less than him. And then jump range is pretty self-explanatory. Unladen, I can jump 23.02 light years. Fully laden, I can jump 19.86. That means the more cargo capacity you have, like the more stuff in your cargo hold, the less you can jump. Now, let's go over individual hard points. You see, these are medium hard points. The game has 3 hard point types: medium, small, and large. I don't believe there's extra large yet. Then underneath that, you have another way to rate them. You have rating and class. My Cobra Mark III has 2 medium hard points, 2 smalls, and 2 utilities. Medium hard points obviously hit harder than small hard points, and largers hit harder than mediums. So anytime you have medium hard points, you're going to want to make sure you have class 2 weaponry. Buy and equipped. I'm going to go up here to change the sort to class descending. You see I can buy this cannon right here if I wanted to for 4 million credits. It's a rating E. It's a class 2. I have no earthly idea why that cannon is 4 million credits. Plasma accelerators, missile rack, beam lasers. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. When you're buying weapons, there's 3 kind of weapons you can actually buy in terms of what they do. And by that I mean like this beam laser. I believe there's cannons, multi-cannons, plasma accelerators, missile racks, torpedoes, fragmentation cannons. There's a lot of different kind of weapons. I just use beams because they're simple. You don't have to reload them. They're pretty self-explanatory. But when you're looking at them, if you go down here to the cheapest class 2 weapon possible, excuse me, you see this pulse laser right here. It's a rating E. Its class is 2. Ratings go from, I believe, G to A. A would be the best. G would be the worst. Then you'll see weapon mode, fixed, damage type, thermic. What that means, the weapons I have currently are gimbaled, which means they have some targeting assist. They'll actually kind of track the target, so you don't always have to. I do not know I believe turreted only really helps. Turreted will basically track it for you if they're on a surface. Even if you can't see the target, I believe, they'll track it anyways, and you can fire. This is really only useful in large ships that can't maneuver, like the Anaconda and the Python. So, now that I just got sidetracked again. You have, your rating. Apparently I lied. You can go to I. That's interesting. Didn't know there was a thing. But, you have and you have 3 different types of lasers also. You have your beams, which continuous fire laser weapon, which is turreted. You have your pulse, and you have your, there's one other type of laser, and I'm forgetting what it's called. You have to excuse me. I thought there was single pulse laser, beam laser. I know there's a different kind of laser, and apparently I cannot remember the name. Beam, plasma accelerator beam. I thought there was. Am I just crazy? Pulse? Yeah, burst lasers. Multi-pulse lasers. They hit harder. Wait. Interesting. Not really sure. Sorry. But yeah, cannons, they're projectile weapons. You have to actually reload cannons. You have to reload anything that shows ammo clip size and ammo maximum. That means you have to reload it. So you can eventually run out of ammo. That's why I use beams usually. But you have your missiles. You have your lock-on missiles, your dumbfire missiles. Railguns hurt really hard. Railguns will devastate something if you can hit its hull. But if you're using it against shields, it won't do that much damage. Cannons, fragmentation cannons, missile racks, there's all kinds of goodies. I'm not going to go over every single one because I honestly do not know what every single one does, and this is just a basic tutorial to begin with. So you have that. So just remember, if you're using a medium hard points, make sure you're looking for at least class 2 weaponry. Because if you get a class 1 weaponry on a medium hard point, you're basically just using small weapons when you could be using mediums, and that's never a good thing. Then you have, obviously your small hard points, your class 1. Then your utility mounts can do multiple things. You can use heat sinks, chaff launchers. When deployed, causes chaff. Pretty sure it's chaff. Yeah, you can all laugh at me. This disrupts gimbal or turret mounted devices. So like if I was shooting something and it launched chaff, my weapons would go all over the place and you wouldn't be able to actually hit it till it dispersed, which I don't know how long it lasts. I think it only lasts a couple seconds. Electronic countermeasures make missiles lose their target, which is really good. Yeah, it makes missiles lose their targets, so they can't obviously hit you because lock-on missiles are sometimes a pain in the butt to get rid of. Kill warrant scanner will basically tell you if something has a bounty or not. If you're bounty hunting, that's the tool you have to have. Scanner range 2 kilometers. The more expensive they are, the longer they'll scan. Or the farther away they'll scan, rather. Frame shift wake scanners are something new they added since the last time I actually really tried to play. Other than this go around. So I'm not entirely sure what they do. I know you can scan down when a ship jumps away from you, and you can get it within the same wake, if I believe. I'm not entirely sure how that works. Point defenses, obviously, they're kind of self-explanatory. They'll automatically track and fire upon missiles and torpedoes in range. And then you just have kill scanner. You can also get cargo scanners, which will let you scan something. I believe their shields have to be down low to actually scan the cargo. And that's your utilities. Next you have your internals. And there's a lot of stuff, but it's not going to take that long because really you only have your bulkheads, reactors, thrusters, this stuff. And then all internals are different. Yeah. Okay, underneath this, obviously, you start out with lightweight plates. You can go all the way up to military-grade composites, which harden structure and compound offerings superior against all types of attacks. And then you have your mirrored surfaces, but these only resist to thermal damage at the cost of giving you a little bit more vulnerability to kinetic and vice versa. I actually never have got these because I'm not too big into the combat aspect yet because I'm trying to get money. So I go rare goods trading, and obviously if I strap on like military grade composites, it makes my jump range a whole lot less because it makes my ship weigh a whole lot more, an extra 27 tons. But this will increase your overall hull strength. Like if your shields go down, it lets you take a whole lot larger of a beating. Power plant, pretty self-explanatory. If you're in a Cobra Mark III, you're going to want a class 4 power plant, even if it's the worst kind of power plant. Well, actually, I take that back. If it's the absolute worst kind of power plant in Class 4, you may be able to get away with a high-grade Class C or Class 3. Like, if you had a rating A Class 3 power plant, it may give you more power. But you'll want to eventually try to get at least a Class 4 rating C. Gives me 13 megawatts. I can actually go all the way up to 15.6 if I needed to. I don't need to, so I'm not going to, because you can obviously see it's 1.6 million credits. Next, you have thrusters. Pretty self-explanatory. The better thrusters you have, the faster you're going to go. Remember, Class 4, you actually want to be allowed to get Class 3 thrusters if you're in a Cobra Mark III. Frame shift drive. You'll definitely need a Class 4. If you get any other kind of frameshift drive other than a Class 4, you're going to go nowhere. As you can see, I go from, what, 23 light years to 6 light years? Yeah, so make sure you're in a Class 4. Then you want to get the highest frameshift drive possible. I have the rated A frameshift drive, which isn't even for sale here. It's 1.6 million credits. The Class B is 536,000. Next, life support. I don't really consider this necessary, but if you want to get it, go for it. Because basically the only difference is it weighs a little less, and you can see oxygen time capacity. 5 minutes for the one you start out with is E. Then I have the D, which is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And if you go all the way up to the A, you get 25 minutes of oxygen. Power distribution. I actually have a Class 3, which is interesting. I don't know. I think power distribution actually makes it where your capacitor recharges. You remember when I was showing you engine system and weapon capacitors? So the higher that, the better. I'm actually not sure if you can get Class 4 or not on this thing. You may only get Class 3. I'd actually be able to jump farther. Everything would recharge faster. I'm going to go ahead and buy that. Sensors. Honestly, they're pretty it's just sensors. You can scan stuff from farther away. Like when you're looking at a ship and it'll tell you if bounty, and you can lock it and stuff like that. You can keep within 5 kilometers. And also, I'm just going to show you this too. When you buy something, I bought these sensors for 10,000 credits. The sensors I'm buying are 25,000 credits. You only have to pay the difference. It's only going to cost me 15,000 credits. Alright, fuel tank capacity. You can actually get smaller fuel tanks to lighten your ship if you really want to. But you're going to lose, obviously, your fuel tank capacity. It means you'll have to refuel more often. Now we have internal compartments. Now, I believe my Sidewinder has 3 Class 4 and 3 Class 3. Let me double check. Yeah, 3 Class 4 and 3 Size 4 and 3 Size 2. We'll go over that shipyard tab in a moment. Alright, so remember, I have 3 Class 4, 3 Class 2 internal compartments. So, obviously, you know, I have 3 here. 2 cargo racks that are 16 and a shield generator. You can put a lot of stuff underneath here. Class descending. You can put a frameshift drive interdictor, which is how you can interdict people from their frameshift, which I won't be able to show you because I suck at it. But if you want to go and look at it, someone else who's better at it doing it. But you can buy one of these. This is the best, probably one of the best ones you can get since it's 7 million credits. Refineries, which I have no idea, I do not mind. But that's how you can churn stuff. You can churn raw materials into things you can sell. That is an amazing fuel scoop. The higher the fuel scoop, the more you're going to be able to, the more a second you're going to be able to scoop, the farther away. The closer to the sun you get, the more fuel you'll scoop, which I'll show actually in a minute. You know, another frameshift drive, a really good shield generator, refineries, you know, all this other fun stuff. Why do I keep saying... I don't know. Wonder why it won't let me buy anything there. Insufficient credits, equipment... Oh, it's because my cargo bay is full. I can't actually swap out a cargo bay if my cargo bay is full. Sorry about that. But yeah, you have your shield cell banks, auto field maintenance. This is all the stuff you can put there. Remember, if you're using a Class 4, you're going to want to try to put Class 4 items in, because the higher the class, the better it's going to be normally, with few exceptions. Shield generator, Class 4. Then I have my Class 2, which I have, you know, more cargo racks. And a fuel scoop in a Class 2, which I can actually buy an even better fuel scoop, which I'm going to do. Because the better the fuel scoop you have, the better off you're going to be. Alright, so that's the outfitting tab. Pretty much, you know, you have your hard points, which we just went over, your internal, which we also just went over, and then you also have livery, which if you have a paint job, you can apply it here. You can put your decals and stuff. Really self-explanatory. You just highlight it, press A, press A. Now next we're going to go over the shipyard. Remember, you're going to want to find a high-tech or industrial system, and then you're going to want to dock at that station. And then you see there's 9 ships for sale. Pretty self-explanatory. You can just look through the ships. Lycan Type 9, a Python, Adder, Viper. If you're looking for a very specific ship, you can always just Google where to find it, and it'll be able to tell you pretty easy. Then it'll show you like internals. I already showed. Let's see. Let's look at a Python. It would have 4 utilities, 2 medium hardpoints, and 3 larges, and it would have 1 size 2, 2 size 3, 1 size 4, 2 size 5, 3 size 6s. So that's one of the biggest ships you can get in the game, actually. But that's the shipyard, pretty self-explanatory. Lincoln Type 6 transporter, one of the very first true cargo ships you're going to get. But when you first start out, if you're wanting to get into trading, I know this is kind of random, but if you're starting out and you want to get into trading, you're going to want to try and get this ship right here, a hauler. You can get up to, I believe, 16 or 20 cargo capacity, which compared to the Sidewinder's 4 is huge. So you want to try to get this thing. It's only 50,000 credits plus probably like 150,000 credits plus decent frameshift drive in the cargo rack. But it's not a fighter, so don't try to fight with it. Alright, next you have the commodities market. Pretty self-explanatory. All your commodities, which if you actually look at my last video, the rare goods trading, it'll go over it pretty much more in depth. This is pretty self-explanatory though. And then universal cartographics, I can't speak. If you do exploration, this is where you're going to sell your stuff to make money. So that's pretty self-explanatory also. I'm trying to think. I think I've gone over everything that's pretty much, the basics of the game, how to move, how to fly, all that kind of stuff. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on this video. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to it. I'll be putting these up 1 to 2 a week, sometimes 3, just depends on how I'm feeling and what my work schedule is. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you encourage you to buy this game because I believe it's a great game, but it's up to you. That's why I do this video, so hopefully you guys can make your own decisions. Have a great night, and thank you for watching again.